The Montreal Canadiens rookie showcase turned a lot of heads for a lot of the right reasons. And boy, it didn't take long for the tandem of Florian Xhekaj and Ivan Demidov to get going, showing the nifty hands. And listen, the last time the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup was 1993, in part because of Patrick Waugh, without question. Another huge part, oh yeah, there was the Eric Desjardins hat trick against the LA Kings. That was pretty crucial. But in a larger view, brother, there was the John LeClair garbage time goal factory. Watching Florian Xhekaj scoop up the nifty work of the offensive threat of Ivan Demidov, there was Florian Xhekaj doing what a big-bodied 24-goal scorer in the AHL needs to do. Get to the net, good things can happen. Can we talk about his NHL future? Not Demidov, he's locked in. Florian Xhekaj on again, the smaller sample size, but what are we looking at? What is this fan base? What can they expect in terms of Florian Xhekaj one day with the Montreal Canadiens, whenever that day may come?
I think they're still trying to figure it out themselves. I think, it's as you peel back and look at certain skill sets of a player and evaluate how you can further, help them work it and really kind of get it to another level. You think to yourself, okay, last year he was a defensive center playing fourth line, getting good looks, but I think had a 23 or 24% shooting percentage. And you're like, okay, well, naturally you'd think that offense is going to come down a peg. There's a serious chance that if he plays on the top six in the American Hockey League, if he doesn't make the roster, that, you're going to have a far more balanced and consistent and sustainable offensive output. And I think we saw glimpses of that during this rookie tournament where, this is a guy that could really follow talented players and really complement their style by bringing more of that crash and bang. But at the same time, this is a guy who wins, a fair amount of draws, that is able to play, up and down a lineup, and that can bring that necessary truculence to steal a
Brian Burke.
a certain former Maple Leafs GM's words here. But he's able to bring a lot of that to a line that allows that line to play with confidence. And I feel like that's that element we knew. What we didn't know, or what we didn't see enough of, and that this is something I've liked, is more of that playmaking, eyes open, eyes in the back of his head, quick stick in tight areas, those kinds of abilities that not only help generate offense, but sustain offensive zone pressure. And I think that was one of the things that I really enjoyed watching from Florian during this rookie camp. And I think that element of his game, if it's further compounded and further brought up to a level that can follow talented players, we're having a very different conversation about what his NHL future could be.
Why do you think Florian Xhekaj was on the top line with Demidov against Winnipeg to start the rookie showcase? Like, obviously he scored 24 goals with Laval, didn't see the power play, was their fourth line guy for Pascal Vincent. Pascal Vincent knows Florian Xhekaj at this point inside and out. How much can we choose to read into the role Xhekaj played Saturday against Winnipeg?
And even to the role on Sunday, I feel like the reason why they're playing him in this situation over a guy like Owen Beck, for example, which is the real question, is, I think they see a little bit more offensive potential, and I think it's obvious as to why. I think Owen Beck has some of the best pure hockey IQ mechanics I've ever seen in a center prospect for the Montreal Canadiens. Like, this guy is just wired to very well see the game. But for whatever purpose, his playmaking ability, I find, just sometimes thinks the game too fast or makes a play too quickly, and it just doesn't happen. But he knows exactly where to be all the time, every time. Just an incredible cerebral player. Right. Florian, on the other hand, is more of that crash and bang style. I'm going to take the puck to the net. I'm going to make space for myself. I'm going to take shots left and right, and we're going to see where things go. And, it worked out for him as a fourth line player. But now, if you want to make the show, you can't be a surprise on the fourth line. You got to be a consistent piece on the top six of an AHL team before you could really say, okay, this guy is ready for the NHL. I think he's knocking on the door at this point. I think he's knocking on the door. But the Canadiens, there's, unless there's injury, which I believe will happen, I believe he has an NHL future. I don't know if he makes the team out of camp just because we've seen what the Canadiens are doing here. They really want to evaluate him with talent players. Yeah. I think it eventually comes, but I think they really want to develop him in a more offensive role first, because they may not necessarily want to pigeonhole him as like a fourth line center. And I think a lot of fans that are going to be responding to this in the comments are going to be like, no, he's more than a fourth line center. Well, if you believe that, do you really want to just rush him into a fourth line role, right? Do you want him to be brought along in the American Hockey League the way that the Canadiens are positioning him in this rookie camp?
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's not by chance.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but I wonder if there's a difference, right, between, let's say, the developmental path of David Reinbacher versus Florian Xhekaj. I know obviously two different position type players, but can one be more insulated than the other? And I'll fall back to Jeff Gordon's post-playoff comments when they talk about they want a little bit more size, a little bit more of that gritty type of player.
Yeah.
To me, I can see a path where maybe David Reinbacher, and this is what I want. I want Reinbacher to start in Laval and play heavy minutes, be a top pair guy. Whereas I could see a Florian Xhekaj maybe getting that 10-game sample, being insulated, just to see if his attitude, his style of play can make the big club better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. This is my viewpoint on this, and then we can kind of get into the evaluation of the player.
Yeah.
But the way that I see this right now is if you want Florian to really kind of reach his peak and also help this team when it matters, would you not want him polished for the playoffs?
Yeah, ideally, yeah sure.
And are you going? And this is the debate that we've had. We had with the Slafkovsky decision, right? Mm-hmm. Is that polishing more optimal, playing 10 minutes a game in the NHL, or is it more optimal playing upwards of 16 to 20 minutes a game in the American Hockey League in all situations? And my preference always is the latter. And I feel like the players that have gone through the latter have a more successful track record in general than those that were rushed at the first moment's notice. Like, I feel, obviously not the same age. I think he's a year or so or two older. But like, I feel like if Florian Xhekaj makes the team this year, it's a Guillaume Latendresse situation where you have a need, and he comes in and fills that need, despite being an absolute, blue chip prospect at this point, even though, he's omitted from all those prospect lists. I feel that there is more to uncover in this player. And I think he showed that in glimpses at the rookie tournament, that I feel like if given the opportunity, he could center a top six line in the American Hockey League, be on the power play consistently, something he wasn't last year, and really kind of develop those offensive instincts that can make him more than just a checking fourth line center. And I think that's, if you can develop Florian Xhekaj into a top 9 consistent scoring threat with size, you have your unicorn. You are set.
That's what it sounds like.
In my personal opinion, you're going for it. You have a glut of bottom 6 guys on this roster, right? Like it's the top 6 guys you really want right now, that you're missing one specific one. I just feel like, you're going to have that veteran line with, Evans, Anderson, Gallagher. Balzuk is going to be in there. Newhook is going to be in there. And you're going to have Joey Veleno as well. And then what do you do with Oliver Kapanen? There's a lot of guys, Samuel Blais as well. Samuel Blais as well. So, there's a lot that you have to kind of factor in when you're making these decisions. And the thing that I'm thinking to myself is, you look at that lineup and what role could he have in it? It would probably be, extra forward or a guy playing like 10 minutes a game. Yeah. And to me, I just find at this junction, because he started his OHL career so late, right? Compared to others, I just feel like, hey, maybe giving him an extra 40 games in the A, 30 games in the A, see whatever happens throughout the season if there's injury or whatever, but I just feel like there's still polishing to be done because I saw elements of his game that we didn't previously see that didn't come out in a consistent fashion that I would like to see come out in a consistent fashion at a lower level before expecting it as such at the NHL level.
And when I look at the Canadiens roster, obviously, in the best case scenario, Florian Xhekaj brings something that I don't think anybody down the middle on the Canadiens brings, right? Like,
no, exactly.
And to me, the timing can work out. Jake Evans gets re-upped last year. Alex Newhook. It seems like the timing might be, air quote, perfect to allow Florian to continue to progress and play a bigger role for Pascal Vincent's team. Like, Pascal Vincent really likes Florian Xhekaj. Like, what coach doesn't like a guy who's, excuse the expression, balls to the wall, who can score goals? Like, he scored 24 goals in the AHL. Like, that's very notable for a guy that I don't think we're talking about is the answer to the problems at 2C for the Canadiens. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's the answer for 2C.
Yeah, no one's saying that. No one's saying that here. Yeah.
Well, I saw a couple in the comments. I don't think he's I don't think he's the solution there, but I think he's part of the puzzle for this team. And I think, when it's easy to fall into this trap where you see a promising young player who fits a need on this team, look good at camp, and want him on the team now because it's time to go. But remember the frustrations that everybody had with Juraj Slafkovsky's utilization when he first cracked the roster? Remember the frustrations you had with Lane Hutson's utilization when he first made the roster last year and wasn't on the first power play wave?
Yeah.
Do you honestly think that Florian would get any more preferential treatment? I sincerely doubt that. And so, to me, again, knowing Marty and knowing the situation that St. Louis is going to be in this is now like you are in results mode for this coach. Like, you have to make the playoffs again, or else it's a bad look.
Yeah.
He's not in development mode anymore. And so if that's the case, best to continue to polish in the American Hockey League. But I think, you're seeing elements, and to me, it's down the middle, right? So it's a different story, but you're seeing elements of what the Canadiens are wanting to build down the middle with their bottom six. Because you have Florian Xhekaj, you have Hayden Papanikis, right? Two absolute monsters. And those two guys look like surefire bottom six NHL centers at this point. And so you continue to add that kind of size up the middle. It doesn't matter who your 2C is after that, even though we can get into who fans want as a 2C. But as long as you have the physical elements beyond Suzuki and whoever your 2C is, then you will be able to roll lines and match lines to a better degree. And I feel like if the Montreal Canadiens want to roll that way, then taking a little bit more time with Florian, despite some really intuitive performances, might be the best cause.
That's Marco D'Amico. You can follow him at MND'Amico. You can support us by supporting our sponsors at Little Bear, littlebearonline.com on St. Catherine, across from Alexis Neon Plaza with delivery. Check out their website on the regular. Make sure you bookmark that because they care about your pets as much as you do. And they got specials that change all the time. And start thinking about that colder weather. I know here we are in mid-September and it's a beautiful forecast, but that doesn't mean Mother Nature is going to take a winter off. As much as I'd love her to say, you know what, Montreal, we're just not going to do winter. We're just going to keep it 25 and sunny right through April. It's probably not going to happen. That's my big guess. The Little Bear will set you and your pet's needs up for those cold winter months.